Atlanta Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta in Hampton, Georgia, has come a very long way from its first race, held in 1960 and won by NASCAR legend Fireball Roberts, who also took the pole at 133 miles per hour. Spectators from that day who watched from one small grandstand or on blankets spread out on an adjacent dirt bank wouldn't begin to recognize the facility today. Even down to the name, dubbed Atlanta International Raceway when it opened, the track struggled financially through the 60s and 70s before finding a degree of stability in the 1980s. Future Georgia Governor and U.S. President Jimmy Carter briefly worked as a ticket seller on race weekends back in the 60s. Real change came following Bruton Smith's purchase of the facility in 1990, with the culmination of the transformation of Atlanta International Speedway in 1997, with extensive reconfiguration that switched front and back straightaways, added a double dogleg in the new front straightaway. In the 7 intervening years, new grandstands sprouted almost every year, and a 9-story tower, Terra Place, that houses the track offices and a number of luxury condominiums. Atlanta has been a staple on the NASCAR schedule for decades, and tonight, it's the Hotlanta 180. It's coming up next on HBR TV. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. Joining you for the Hotlanta 180 presented by Schaefer's Racing Oil. Practice just about wrapped up. In fact, about a minute remains in that session. Let's take a quick look trackside, see where everyone has stacked up. Right now, it's the 22 of Chris Scala, the fastest truck in the field, but it's not by much. 21 of Brandon Alphin. 30.31, then a 34, then a 38. Again, these are all draft laps. This place is going to race a lot like Daytona and Talladega. Drafting is certainly going to be the key factor in working your way towards the front. Well, if you're not already out front, but lining up behind a guy is going to be super important. Maybe not losing the truck. You saw the one getting a little crossed up there as he made contact with the truck in front. Certainly going to be something to be aware of. Another thing that's a little bit different about this place compared to the Daytonas and Talladegas of the world is the tires will fall off here. I know you're kind of flat out wide open most of the way around here, especially in qualifying, but you will find guys later on in the run, if we get long runs, that will have to lift out of the throttle to not slide the truck up the racetrack. Practice comes to a close. Scala fastest. Again, draft laps are going to be a bit faster than what we're going to see here right in qualifying. Five-minute quality session to set the field in the pole position. We'll start with Josh Gagnon. New colors on that number 79, Schaefer's Racing Oil. Josh Gagnon out of Reno, Nevada. Josh takes a green flag on his first lap. Jason Clark, the first driver to get a lap in, a 32.47. Mike Fahey second, Fontaine third, was third, now it's Telder. 31.935 for Gagnon. Luke Daniels, the number 28 Ford F-150 4D racewear machine. Taking a look at the race info for tonight, 120 laps. 85 degrees, relatively low humidity at 46%. Track temperature, though, that's a little bit warmer, 111 degrees. Have to pay close attention to that throughout the course of the event. If that starts to go up, handling might actually come into play. Daniels across the stripe. 32.93. Justin Bondurant's first lap at 32.90 puts him 13th fast. Bondurant shortcut in the bottom. You won't see that during the race. Can certainly get away with it in qualifying. Puts him P2, 32.341. Joey Laddiser finishes up his lap. Diego Sainz, the number 44 machine. First lap, 33.025 for Sainz. Sainz across the stripe, finishes his second lap, puts him 11th, 32.388. Zach Millett, sporting some new colors, Holler Boys Racing TV, that S4 guy Silverado. Millett's first lap, a 32.656. It's 19th fast the first time by. Does seem that lap number 2 tends to be the better lap. Don't know if that's due to tire temperatures, a little bit less tire scrub on that second lap. Tire pressures coming up. You think sometimes on these super speedways you don't want that spoiler up in the air. Seems to be a bit of the opposite here in qualifying today. Millett down to the bottom as well. Crosses the line here. Second lap. Second quick, 32.323. No one's touching Fontaine at that 32.31, but it was close. Chris Scala's first time by, 33.015. Just kind of a throwaway lap, it seems to be, for all of these drivers the first time around. Scala drops to the bottom as well. It seems to be the shortcut to take. Ninth quick as time expires in the session. So with that, let's take a look at our starting grid for the Hotlanta 180 presented by Schaefer's Racing Oil. On the pole position with a time of 32.318. It's Sam Fontaine in the number 77. Zach Millett with Holler Boys Racing, 5/1000ths of a second shy of taking that top spot. Starts outside front row in the 315. Justin Bondurant in the number 11, he'll start third. Joey Laddiser, number 23 machine out of Canada, will start fourth. Jason Dalton is going to roll from the 5th position in his number 2 truck. Josh Gagnon, the number 79, starts 6th. The number 65 of Ben Pierce, credited with the 7th starting spot. And then it's Luke Knupp, winner at the dirt track last week. The number 29 starts 8th. 9th goes the 22 of Chris Scala. 10th, Jacob Drift. Trey Anderson starts 11th. And the 00, Mike Fahey, Lone Star Racing Zone, starts 12th. Cedric Ingram's going to roll from the 13th spot. Sean Petchin, the number 69, starts 14th. Diego Sainz with Gunslinger Racing is going to start in the 15th spot. Cameron Ingram, also a Gunslinger entry. That number 5 starts from the 16th position. Dylan Glass rolls from the 17th spot. Alex Cummings, 18th. Tyler Brewer, 19th. Luke Daniels, 20th. 21st goes to Jason Clark. Matt Telder, 22nd. Luke Strayer, 23rd. Tim Averill, the 3rd with Black Cat Racing. The number 3 rolls 24th. Steve Miles, a winner this season. He'll start 25th. Brandon Alphin, 26th. Brian Sutphin, 27th. Christine the Dean Machine starts 28th. Lucas Simonson, the number 49, will start from the 29th position. That's your starting grid here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Field rolling soon, if not already. In fact, we got the starting grid in before they even left pit lane. That is extremely rare. May have extended the grid, maybe not. They've been there for a couple of minutes. Should be rolling here momentarily. Might be waiting for another driver. We'll see. In fact, they may have extended the green. Sorry, the yellow. Typically only one pace lap on tracks this size. You usually get 2 on the smaller tracks to make sure all the drivers can get out of pit lane and get situated. Chris Harvey in the stream chat. Anyone here to watch Fahey wreck? Well, look for Tristan Sykes. If he shows up, he's definitely one of them. Got a bunch of you guys already in the stream chat. I appreciate that. Chris Harvey, Captain Fronto, Troy Sandwick, Chris Lewis, B. Wright. Thanks for chiming in, guys. Feel free to participate all night long. Just keep it PG for the kids. No bickering or I'll shut you down. Gotta give special thanks to a last-minute sim cam supply, I guess you could say, from Whiplash Sim Cams, hooking us up with a camera for tonight's race here at Atlanta. Thought we had one, we didn't. And literally an hour or two before the race, Whiplash Sim Cams comes through in the clutch. Certainly appreciate that. So we are going to go 2 laps under the caution flag before we go to green. So with this extra lap of caution, who are you guys cheering for tonight? Who you see winning this race? It's obviously going to be a bit of a crapshoot. It doesn't necessarily come down to who's the better driver, but maybe who's the luckiest driver, being that it's kind of a super speedway like Daytona, Talladega, or iRacing super speedway. That's a whole different animal in itself. Sam Fontaine and Zach Millett on the front row. Pace car pulls off out of turn 4. We wait for the flag stand to show a green. Barney's got it in hand. And it waves. We're underway from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Lap 1 in the book. Sam Fontaine out in front. Justin Bondurant takes over the second spot. Millett shuffled back to P3, tries to get it down behind Bondurant. Might have some room. He does. Cuts down across the nose of the 2 of Jason Dalton. One truck out of shape. Down the back stretch. Gets it gathered back up. No caution, no issues. Look back from Fontaine. Sam Fontaine still out in command of this race. Only a few laps in. Going to put lap 4 on the board this time by. Got 120 laps here. I think everyone is just going to try and feel out everyone from here on in for quite some time. Again, 3 sets of tires over the wall at everyone's disposal, so we're going to hope to get to all of those sets without any major issues. Of course, everybody's packed up tight here. This is super speedway style racing. It's not Atlanta Motor Speedway, I guess. It's Atlanta Super Speedway. See Justin Bondurant go to the high side, looking for the lead into turn number 1. Bondurant, the number 11, that black and green Monster Energy Toyota up top. He's got the 23, Joey Ladisser, in behind, trying to give him a bit of a push, not being too aggressive. Again, very early. Can't win this thing on lap 5, but you can certainly throw it all away. Fontaine in command, seems to be the place to be, is out front. Bondurant made that move to try and take the top spot away. Didn't have a lot of help really in behind. Plenty of drivers there, but not enough aggression. Again, we said it pretty early on. You're not going to get too much aggression out of your pushing drivers, the guys that are in behind, to try and sneak you on by and get positions at this stage of the game. It's a risky proposition. Start pushing, guys. Yes, that's the way you're going to get things done, but it also creates the likelihood of a crash. Nobody wants that because no faster pairs here tonight. You crash out of this one, you are out of it for good. Fill it with a run all over the back bumper to the 77. Of course, no help, so he stays tucked in line. Top half of the field pretty close together. The back half starting to spread out just a bit. We may end up seeing 2 distinct racing packs here before too long. Fontaine has led every lap thus far. Millett started outside front row, maintains that second position, lost it pretty quickly to Bondurant. Really, Bondurant gave it back up, trying to go for the lead without help. Now, even in that outside lane, it continues to drop backwards. Low side is certainly the shorter distance around the racetrack, but if you get guys that are organized enough in that top side, nose to tail, and so on, it can be faster. Of course, there's less steering input to run the top lane. A little bit better on the tires. It could be the safe play for the long run if we get it. Again, 10 laps in without an issue. Hard to say where we'll end up, when our first caution will be. Bondurant, though, on the challenge again to the outside of Millett. He's got a nose along the right rear of the 77 out of turn 4. You watch these guys and you can almost start to pick out who's going to be patient, who's going to be aggressive, just by looking at the first 11 laps. You got guys like Justin Bondurant definitely not being as patient as a lot of these guys could be. He's certainly talented. He's got some skills behind the wheel of that Monster Energy Toyota. Does cross the stripe that time by as the leader, but there's plenty of guys out there that aren't going to make that aggressive move early on. They're just going to kind of hang, take care of their stuff until it's time to go. It's not time to go yet. I know Bondurant probably wanted some laps led for some points, so there's some merit to that. Further back through that top 10, Mike Fahey runs in the 9th spot. Pressure coming from the number 1 of Matt Telder. You hear him lift quite a bit there as to not get in the back bumper of the 00. Swung it to the bottom, and the 85 of Anderson was right there. Lucky to not make any contact. Checking up again, getting into the back of Josh Gagnon. See, these trucks are starting to hang out the right rear a little bit, mid-corner. A lot of lifting out of the throttle as well. Telder looking up the middle. He's going to go 3 wide here. He might. Opens the door, goes up the gut. 3 wide down in turns 1 and 2. Can he make it stick? Gagnon wisely backs off, gives up the position. Telder awfully aggressive. In fact, he is up 17 spots already in just 15 laps. Started 23rd, he's up to 5th. Impressive run out of the 1. That's really what it takes at tracks like this, where you're so dependent on being aggressive. And we got a car around, gets into Zach Millett. Trey.
Caution.
Telder may have tipped this one off.
Nice and smooth. Taking fluid.
Didn't catch who got into Zach Millett, but Millett, massive impact into the safer barrier. He's already in the pits. He may be done for the night. Let's try and get a look at it and see specifically. Back it up here again. We're in real time. We'll slow it down. The 1 of Telder gets to the back bumper of the 23. Turns Lattiser down across the racetrack, catches Millett in the right rear, and just sends him straight up the racetrack in front of traffic. Telder gets him again. I think Gagnon might squeak through here unscathed. Man, oh man. But there you have it. First caution of the night. Some drivers opting for pit lane already. Mike Fahey being one of them. Pretty much everybody outside of the top 4, I think, opted for the pits. No, the top 2. Sam Fontaine completed his pit work. Looks like fuel only for most drivers. Luke Knupp opted for 4 tires and fuel, the Red Sim design number 29. But 18 laps in, we're under our first caution of the night. We were watching Matt Telder work his way through the field. He was doing an excellent job, but got up into that top 5. Got to the back bumper of the 23. I think that was Joey Lattiser. Sent Lattiser around down the racetrack and caught Millett in the right rear. Sent him up the racetrack Earnhardt style. Just be glad it's a sim, folks. That would have been a nasty one. Meanwhile, live timing update from Daytona 500 qualifying. If you're going to watch it later, here's your spoiler alert. Round 1, not complete as of yet, but currently fastest Chase Briscoe, 49.869 seconds. Kyle Larson second, 49.870. That's your top 2. The only 2 that really matter. because those will be the only two locked in to the Daytona 500 next week. We got the duels, of course, tomorrow night. Taking another look here from the onboard of Lattiser. Slow motion. And if you look at it close, it looks like the 23 just loses it on his own.
Green, green, green.
Green flag back out. So very interesting. That's something you haven't really seen as of, well, what's going back 15, 20 years, where you can close into the back bumper of a guy and take the air off the rear spoiler, loosen it up, not make any contact, and then around he goes. It looks like about what happened there. So I take back what I said. Tell they're not getting into the back bumper of the 23. Certainly looked like it initially, but slow things down and zoom right in. Yeah, it looks like the 23 just came around on his own. Meanwhile, the 69 truck, Sean Petchen, is taking over the top spot from the 77 of Sam Fontaine. The other truck in the wall, I think that might have been Alex Cummings, the 63, scraping the right side, and the safer barrier continues on. Everybody takes evasive action and gets around. No caution. So Cummings is going to have to come back up to speed, but likely near or at the back of the pack. It's already fallen down to the 21st position. Back out front, new leader again. Mike Fahey takes the top spot away from Sean Petchen. Petchen's going to drop out of the chaos here down the backstretch. He's going to go to the inside on the apron, fall back just a bit. I'm going to guess and say that's self-imposed. I don't know he had an issue with the restart, but meanwhile, Mike Fahey out in front for a moment. Luke Knupp, winner on dirt last week at USA. He running the top side right now, that number 29 truck. The nose out in front of Mike Fahey. He's got some help. The 77 of Fontaine pushing the 29. Nobody really pushing Fahey, though. He's got the 14 closing in. Jacob Drift there now coming to his assistance. 14 gets a little loose. Fahey gets the left sides right on that red line for a moment. It seemed to upset the balance of the truck. He continues on, keeps his foot in it. Knupp now with the lead. Fontaine with the nose out into the second spot. Fahey hangs on to third, side by side for that position. Knupp has the 00 clear, but stays kind of in the middle lane, wants to bring along the 77. Gagnon might have got a piece of the outside wall on corner exit, just a touch. And the 14 of Jacob Drift, awfully loose mid-corner, gathers it up. Fahey real loose out of 4. I don't know if he dropped down intentionally or what his plan was there, but got a little crossed up, saved the truck. Meanwhile, Fahey goes from the top front of the pack there back to 20th. Luke Knupp now your race leader, still your race leader. Fontaine back into P2. Then it's Trey Anderson, Jacob Drift, and Jason Clark. Clark, your big mover on the day, up 16 spots, starting 21st. More details on Matt Telder involved in that incident. Again, not making contact with Lattiser. It was all air-driven more than anything else. Unfortunately for Telder, did lose an engine in that wreck, so he's out of this one. Nupp still with the lead, but the battle is for the second spot between Fontaine and Trey Anderson. Jason Clark, the number 13 truck, on the bottom. Anderson trying to get it done up top all by himself, but here comes Justin Bondurant, maybe going to offer some drafting assistance down the back straightaway. .28 laps in. Nupp, still your leader, your winner from last week. He slipped to about the 20th position. It's not worked his way back into the 16th spot, so starting to pick him off one at a time once again. But next on the list, it's going to be Luke Strayer. I know we're on a super speedway, but he's going to be a challenge to get on by unless he just lets him slide. Fahey closing in quick. Have a battle for the lead here. Anderson poking his nose out to the outside of Luke Nupp. Again, with help from Bondurant, the 11 truck trying to give the 85 a bit of a boost. It's a bit of a shuffle game there if you think about it on that outside lane. We see this at Daytona especially. The inside lane is where you want to be. Keep it locked down and just kind of protect. Oh, contact! Nupp gets into Anderson, sends the 85 up the racetrack. Yellow on the speedway once again. Multiple trucks involved in this off turn number 4. Contact involving Luke Nupp and the 85 of Anderson. Let's get another look at it. Nupp had the run, and Anderson tried to just come down and take the spot. He wasn't clear. It was by a couple of inches, not much, but that's all it takes. The guy on the inside does not need to lift, and in fact, in the position that Nupp was in, it's almost too dangerous to lift, because then the guys behind you kind of causes that chain reaction, and everybody else runs you over. Take a look at it again from another angle. Anderson thought he was clear. In fact, he was clear for a moment. But by the time he was starting to turn back down, he wasn't. 29 was there. Seven, eight, 9 trucks eventually involved in this one form or another. With that, we're going to jump to a quick break. We'll be back with the restart after this.
I would definitely recommend the Garza Law Firm to all my family and friends because I know how he's treated me. I have been playing basketball ever since I can remember. I just finished my 6-year career playing for the University of Tennessee. I feel like we're both striving to be better every day. He's always responded quickly and has always come through with whatever he said that he's going to do. The Garza Law Firm is definitely somebody you want on your team.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back to Atlanta Super Speedway. The Hot Atlanta 180 presented by Schaefer's Racing Oil. Joined in the booth by Zach Millett. Zach, thanks for jumping up here in the booth with us. Sporting the HBR TV colors. Well, you're not out of it yet. You got out of the race, but you're still in the booth as we get ready to go back to green.
Green flag.
Yeah, you drug me back into it, Steve. Here we are again.
Green flag back in the air. Luke Knupp with the advantage. Sam Fontaine from the pole runs in the second spot. Josh Gagnon, P3. Jacob Drift, Diego Sainz, the top 10. But here comes Mike Fahey. I'm sorry, it was top 5. Mike Fahey now into the 5th spot. Good recovery for the 00. Well, now that we're back underway, it looks like Gagnon having some connection issues for a moment there. Let's talk about the incident. Of course, it seemed like you didn't know it was coming because it was kind of happening behind you. And it ultimately, in looking back at the replays a little bit further, the 23 actually lost it on his own. There was no contact involved. Telder was certainly close to the tailgate of the truck, maybe enough to take the air off the spoiler, but he got crossed up on his own, came down and got you. What did it feel like or look like from inside the 315 machine?
Oh, Dad, it was the most helpless feeling. Just holding my line down on the bottom there, and all of a sudden I'm looking right at the fence. So it was pretty terrible.
Well, we talked pre-race about your feelings on this particular event. You're not a big fan of super speedway racing. That's kind of how this thing plays out. And I don't know, you had negative thoughts about it, and well, here you go. You're out of this thing pretty early here in our first caution.
Yeah, maybe I earned it just by how I was thinking about this before it even started. But I mean, hate to say it, but I was right.
It's all the negativity. See, it's your fault.
It's the David Bradford in me, I feel like he and I are somewhat brothers. You race for an hour just to get wrecked on the last lap, but we didn't even get that far tonight.
Well, it is what it is. Now it's a leisurely sit in the booth here, call it with me, and watch it unfold. Hopefully get some long green flag runs in. I'd love to see these guys have to pit under green and see how far that separates everybody. Meanwhile, while we're chit-chatting here, Sam Fontaine is taking over the lead. Luke Knupp already on the charge to the outside, trying to take that position back. Now, Zach, did you have enough time out on the track to kind of get a feel for what lane seemed to be the preferred place to be, top or bottom?
Yeah, it was kind of hard to tell, but the bottom was definitely king the first part of the run. The further you get into that run, it definitely loosens up in the entrance of the turn and the exit of the turn. So when you're getting up tight to somebody, it gets even worse. But I think the longer we go on this run, that top side's going to start to prevail.
Luke Knupp showing some early strength here in that number 29 truck. Fontaine battling back nicely, but almost opened the door too much for Diego Sainz there in that third spot, that black and red 44 machine on the inside lane. Thought he was going to stick it 3 wide, which, again, we're only a third of the way into this race. It's too early for that. Take a breather, 44. Take a breather.
I like how that 00 Mike Fahey's looking tonight. He's got a mission, man. I think he's going to be up there the whole time.
Fahey was up leading this thing for a little while, then he slid back to like 20th. Again, I don't know. I didn't catch it. I was looking at my timing scoring board. I don't know if he jumped out of the pack to avoid an issue or if he just lost it, but he slid back quite a ways, was very quick to recover and come back up into the top 10, and now you see him here running top 3, lap 41.
Yeah, I think he got loose coming out of 4, but it was a heck of a catch. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have caught that thing. He was dead sideways, caught it, and kept it going.
See, when I looked to him, he was sideways out of 4, but he was on the apron, so I don't know if there was any issue that started that or if he was already on the apron for one reason or another. But yeah, either way, solid save for the 00. So, Zach, thanks for jumping up in the booth with us. You're welcome to stay throughout the broadcast, but if you got to go, we certainly understand.
Yeah, they said I'm going to need a lot of shots and some medical work after that accident, but I'm going to stay up here as long as I can.
A couple of tetanus updates.
Yeah, lots. Yeah, I got some of the catch fence stuck in my sternum.
Some of the steering wheel stuck in your sternum.
That might be what that is. I'm not sure.
At the stripe, Knupp's going to lead that one. It's kind of seesaw back and forth between the 29 and the 77. Mike Fahey doing a good job staying tucked up underneath the 29 of Nupp. But Fontaine excels off the corner from the bottom. It's only him and Diego Sainz right now. Not a ton of partners to do the draft dance down into turn number 3.
You can tell, Steve, that bottom line, they don't have to be quite as close together to keep up with that top line. That top line, you feel like they really have to be pushing as much as possible.
Well, I mentioned it early in the broadcast, too. You weren't up here as of yet, but it reminds me a lot of Daytona. It's like the guys could stick it on the bottom and just lead from there. It is very difficult to overtake that guy topside unless you've got a good, solid group of guys that are organized and in line that are willing to push you past the leader. Once that happens, the leader drops down to the inside lane, and then it's the next guy's opportunity. But it really takes some coordination from the guys topside to get that done.
Yeah, that's what's that's going to make probably the last 20 laps really exciting in this one.
There's plenty of drivers out here that are, racing with teammates, so that could come into the fold as well. You see who's willing to work with who throughout the course of the event or within those last 10 laps. So 45 laps in, we're going to go HBR TV side by side. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action, but we'll be back after this.
I would definitely recommend the Garza Law Firm to all my family and friends because I know how he's treated me. I have been playing basketball ever since I can remember. I just finished my 6-year career playing for the University of Tennessee. I feel like we're both striving to be better every day. He's always responded quickly and has always come through with whatever he said that he's going to do. The Garza Law Firm is definitely somebody you want on your team.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Got to break into the commercial, out of the commercial for this action. 3 wide for the first and second and third and fourth and fifth spots. Who knows? Big time battle here at the front of the field, 49 laps in. Sam Fontaine maintains the top spot. Fahey up to P2. Car almost in the outside wall off of turn 4, across the stripe. Looks like it's going to be Fontaine, Fahey, and Sainz, but that was only briefly. Sainz sneaks his way into the second spot.
Boy, Steve, you'd think we were stage racing.
You'd think. It certainly looked that way. These guys are putting on a good show here so far. I know we've had a couple of incidents, but kind of the nature of the style racing that we're provided here at Atlanta Super Speedway. I know it's going to piss off a lot of people me saying that, but
Yeah, I prefer the Atlanta non-super speedway myself.
well, you're a guy that likes to go out there and run and try to save the tires for the end and then be there, battle for that finish. But here it's just WAO all afternoon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Still side by side for the lead. Fontaine doing a good job maintaining that top spot, even with the 44 of Sainz to his outside. Mike Fahey's been a good pusher all evening long. 13 of Jason Clark also in the mix. He's seemingly trying to decide which way to go as Mike Fahey hangs out the 44 to dry and goes to the bottom side, tucks in behind the 29 of Luke Nupp. It's going to drop Sainz a spot, maybe even 2 if he doesn't get a drafting partner. Oh, a little loose goes the 29 of Nupp. Gathers it up. That's going to open the door back for the 44 of Signs all by himself, but Fontaine's going to get away. I don't know if this is worst case scenario for the 77 because these guys get drafted back up. They could just freight train on by the 77.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I'm thinking he's a little too far out. There might be a pretty good run coming here.
Oh, he's getting lucky here with the low. Well, the lapper goes to the bottom. Thought he had some draft assistance. It may have picked up his pace just enough to avoid the freight train, but here comes Nupp on the bottom. You can see with this run, these guys are starting to wear these tires out. They're going to fall off a bit, but the handling starting to go away on these trucks. Track temp has actually come down a little bit. It was like 111, I think, qualifying time. Now we're 103, so things are starting to cool off, especially here in the middle of turns 1 and 2. It's all in the shade. Meanwhile, final round of NASCAR Cup Series Daytona 500 qualifying underway. 2 cars have taken to the track so far. Ryan Blaney the fastest, 49.985. Burton 50.070 in P2, and that's it for now. Fontaine doing a masterful job just staying out in front of this field. Doesn't matter, seems to be who's behind him, who's alongside of him. He's able to defend and keep the lead on the bottom side. And Ian Millett, you were talking about how as the run progressed, the bottom seemed to get a little bit more difficult. But now Signs gets loosened up top side with Mike Fahey in behind. A little wiggle out of the 44. Nupp goes up the racetrack, almost contact with the 44, and he cuts across the nose. Big time move for the 29 of Luke Nupp. Again, we're not even halfway.
Holy cow, Steve. I didn't expect to see that one.
No. These guys are just over aggressive or just showing off. Either way, it's certainly entertaining.
Speaking entertaining, let's see how this lap car progresses here.
That's Trey Anderson. He's going to go top side here. Let the field go on by. This is a dicey part of the track to try and get by a lapper, especially when they stay up top.
Well, you can see the speed difference though, Steve. Any kind of aero damage takes you right out of this thing.
Well, that's just it. Again, no fast repair for these trucks, so anything that pops up, you really need to spend the time in the pits to get it fixed. And in this case, when aero being such a premium, just turns into a parachute. Mike Fahey a little loose, almost contact with Gagnon. Man, I'll tell you, that's what's great about this racetrack, though. I know it's so much different than Daytona and Talladega, yet so similar, but the fact that the tires do wear and they fall off and the handling changes throughout the run really throws big-time challenges at these drivers.
That's right. It makes you actually have to drive the vehicle, not just run along in line and wait for the next accident. It actually takes some skill in this one.
Short run, it's just like any other super speedway, but yeah, as you continue on this long run, definitely takes a little bit of talent to keep that thing from coming around.
Officially halfway already, too. We're flying by now.
Moving right along here, lap 60 of 120. As soon as they get back to the stripe, officially completes our halfway. Cross flags at the line. Fontaine leads that one. Other battles throughout the back of this top 10 here. Sean Petchin, the number 69 truck, had some time up at the front. He got a lap or two led and then dropped back to stay out of the chaos. top 9, top 10 trucks there all together now. No one's given anybody an inch in that top 10 either, Zach. These guys are really fighting for every position they can get. And again, we're just past halfway, so I don't know how long they can pull this off without any major issues.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty excited. The closer we get to possible green flag stops, I just can't wait for that.
So with that, how many laps did you figure you were able to go if you made it a full fuel run?
You know, I never even looked at it. I was just going to copy whoever was in front of me and go from there.
I mean, it was so early on in the run that you got taken out, so it's tough to say, but...
Right.
Justin Bonnarant, though, he was right up front here early on as well. I think he did maintain or get some damage in that incident as well. Yeah, the right rear banged up pretty good on the number 11 machine. That's why he's back in the 20th position. Still a lead lap truck, but I think he's going to need to be in the draft just to maintain that. When this green flag cycle of pit stops happens, really could stretch all these guys out. Back out front, Fontaine, surprise, surprise, still your leader in that, well, it looks like a Raybestos brakes paint scheme, but it's not. Kids Team is the sponsor on the number 77.
It got me, Steve. I thought it was a Raybestos.
It's definitely a Raybestos throwback. It's got the same font, same logos. It's sharp. It's a good-looking truck.
Flags and everything. It's pretty accurate.
Man, Sam Fontaine, Luke Knupp still side by side for that top spot. As of right now, your pole sitter at Daytona, William Byron, 49.799 seconds. Final round of qualifying still underway. Kyle Larson on the racetrack. What do you think, Zach? Are these guys starting to calm down now that tire wear becoming an issue?
Yeah, I think so. I see the trucks twitching a little less. I don't think they're pushing it quite as hard. I think they're just going to try to lap log here a little bit and get closer to the first pit.
I don't think anybody told Luke Knupp, though. He's trying to push to the lead still. 13 truck of Jason Clark has fallen back a truck length, 2 truck lengths really from Fontaine. It's going to really make it difficult for him to maintain that lead position without any pusher behind him. He's doing an okay job of it for now, but he's got to be pushing hard to make that happen. Meanwhile, spoiler alert, Kyle Larson goes P1 in qualifying, 47.70 over William Byron's 49.79. I'm sorry, 49.70, not 47. That'd be way too fast. Luke Knupp takes over the top spot here at Atlanta. Drops down in front of the 77 of Fontaine. Again, green flag stops likely coming here pretty soon. Meanwhile, the 44 of Diego Sainz, door-to-door, nose-to-nose here across the start-finish line. Now he wants the challenge for that top spot. Mike Fahey can't resist, but give him a push as well. Out of turn number 2, these guys are going to drag race down the back straightaway for position. He's going to push the 44 out front. I don't know if he's clear enough. He's not. Fahey slides up the racetrack a little bit, tucks in behind the 44. Out of turn number 4, Knupp still with the run, but for how long? Leads that lap as well.
You know, Steve, I think Mike does that by design. I think he doesn't lift to give up his run, to give up that momentum he builds. but he just swings it up top and then squares it up on exit to maybe, get the push a little more in like a secure spot down the straightaway instead of just giving it up, lifting.
Well, and honestly, these trucks, as boxy as they are, the drag that they produce, you almost want to keep that engine wound up. If you can find a way to get around the racetrack without lifting and keep the RPMs in the range that it needs to be, you're kind of going to build more power throughout that course of that lap. So it's not necessarily a bad idea. Plus, it might give you a better run down the straightaway.
Yeah, and I think the top side is going to be the place you can do that the entire run.
I gotta say, Hendrick Motorsports brought some ponies to Daytona as Alex Bowman now goes P1, 49.536. Top three, Bowman, Larson, Byron.
Man, I'd love to see Bowman have a good year this year. He was really cool to see at the Glen. He's really down to earth. I'd love to see him have a standout year.
It's unconfirmed, but I think that might have been the last run of the session, so Bowman might be your pole sitter for the 2023 Daytona 500.
Beautiful.
Luke Knupp still trying to battle with Diego Sainz, the 44 truck up top. He's got help with the 00 of Mike Fahey still. These guys still all tucked in tight together in his swap lanes. Change of position out front. Diego Sainz clears the 29, takes over the top spot. Not unlike the way that the 29 took it over from Sam Fontaine. Knupp's going to cross it over. He's going to go back to the top side and say, hey, Mike Fahey, give me a push. Make this work for me, too.
I know Mike wanted to be up there, that top car, and on the top line there, the first car, rather, but he just didn't have the help, it looked like.
Well, it seems like Mike's going to have to figure out a way to make this work. He's got a fast truck. He can get it done up top, but the problem is he seems like he's the worker bee up here, and he's not the queen. He's going to sit there in that second spot on the high side unless he makes something happen. He's not going to be able to get up to the lead. He's going to need someone, well, much like himself, giving him that big push once he pushes somebody else down to the bottom to take over that top spot.
And people are watching Mike, too. They're watching how he makes these runs, and basically everybody that gets in front of that truck makes it to the lead. So if he dives it down to the bottom, he might be pretty popular.
76 laps in, about to be 77 when they cross the stripe. Matt Telder, the lap truck, back on track. Must have got that truck repaired. We thought he was out with a lost engine after that wreck. He's going to slow down this bottom lane, though. It's going to open the door for Knupp topside. This is the worst case scenario. These guys might have to split them.
Not good.
Oh, this is frustrating for the leaders. You got a lap truck here slowing down that whole lower lane. Diego Sainz went from P1 to like 5th here in just a lap because they're trying to get around the lapper. Oh, and 13 gets crossed up. Does he save it? He does. Real loose in the dogleg. Jason Clark with a great save.
Great piece of driving.
Meanwhile, Mike Fahey now to the bottom. No real drafting help. And it is confirmed, Alex Bowman, your pole sitter for the 2023 Daytona 500. Outside front row, Kyle Larson. Both those drivers locked in on the front row.
Oh, this gets dicey. 3 wide.
Luke Knupp still maintaining that top spot. Diego Sainz a good recovery to close back in behind, but he's going to have to do the work all over again, maybe from the bottom. I don't know if Knupp's going to really let that door open wide enough for the 44 to drive through it.
This is the first real chance for that 00 being the lead car, but doesn't look like he's got too much help just yet.
Well, he doesn't have any help right now. The closest guy is Sean Petchin, about 2 trucks behind him. He's going to close in the gap quick here if Petchin stays in the gas, but that's the question. Will he stay in the gas? Up, slides up the track a bit. Now a crossover, back down to the bottom. Diego Sainz goes back topside. Now it's Fahey back in behind. Diego remembers how well the 00 was a pushing. See if he can make it work. Little wiggle out of Mike Fahey, though. Almost got it turned around. Fahey all over the back bumper of the 44, just close enough to not push him. And you're right, Zach, though, that bottom lane, even without a ton of help, it seems to be working here, especially late in the run.
Yeah, it's just effortless, you know. It doesn't look like they really have to push too hard at all. They just kind of ride down there, and they're making, you know, the ground the shorter way around this track.
One thing that we may want to keep an eye on, and it may not present itself until much later in this race, as we saw it early on, guys being a little premature to come down and clear that low truck. If they're making that pass for the lead, you see Sainz comes down and takes the spot away, but we saw earlier on where that really wasn't the case. You got a guy that was cleared, and then as soon as he started to turn the wheel down, he was no longer clear. See if Petchin can draft up again to Fahey, maybe give the 00 a shot.
Real close.
Ugh. .84 laps in. We went back to the green flag here. I think it was lap 43. Pit stop's got to be coming here pretty soon. In fact, some are already coming down pit lane. Sam Fontaine, Tyler Brewer, Sean Petchin, just to name a few. Jason Clark. Oh, Clark sideways down pit lane. That's not a good way to do it.
Not all the time, anyway.
And you know what? Some damage on the Petchin Toyota as well. Not sure what happened there.
Caution.
And yellow is out.
What do you got?
Oh,
for
no.
temps, sir?
Jacob Drift, possibly?
Yep.
Couple drivers. The 44 in it as well. Diego Sainz. Well, that changes everything.
Yeah, with as loose as these trucks are, especially at the end of a run, we knew this was going to happen. Just getting to pit road is a heck of a chore.
Well, we also knew that it was about time for green flag stops, but I guess now the question is, Fahey was the leader at the time of the caution. Can these guys make it back around on the fuel that they have? I don't know what the limit was going to be, but if it's that close, all these guys may need to take a penalty to get fuel. Yeah, pace car lights are on. Pit road's closed. You see the red lights on. Fahey's got a pit here with the pit road closed. Red lights, pits are closed. You got Mike Fahey, Luke Nups doing the same thing. These guys were right on the edge of having to pit, and yellow comes out. So all these guys are going to have to take an EOL. Alex Cummings, Brian Sutphin. Pits are not open, folks. These guys are just desperate. They have to get fuel. Diego Sainz says, I don't want to talk about it. Well, we're going to talk about it. Let's take a look. Jacob Drift, I think, was the biggest part of this initially.
Might be some drifting in it.
Was Diego trying to get to pit lane?
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Oh, man, oh, man. I think Diego might have been trying to get down to pit lane.
From the looks of it, I don't think Fahey was notified.
Maybe he didn't get the message. That could be the case. But yeah, Diego Sainz trying to get all he can get, trying to get down into pit lane. I mean, that's the way you got to do it, but Fahey's right there.
Now watch this 00 stay off the wall here, too, right here. He yanks it left and just barely keeps it off.
Matt Telder involved in that one again.
Ooh, tons of trucks.
Big time. Joey Lattiser, Tim Averill. Alex Cummings got a piece of it earlier on in the event. Chris Dean might have sneaked through here without a problem. Bondurant. Chris Scala. So Diego Sainz did confirm in the stream chat, I called it too late, it's on me. So yes, Fahey didn't get the message in time. And that's really, it's a strategy thing. I mean, you don't want to give the guys too much of a heads up that you're coming to pit lane because it may affect the strategy that's involved in that. But in the case of Diego Sainz, you don't want to be too late either because that can definitely happen. So just like that, pace car lights are off once again. So we're going to go back to the green flag in a hurry. And it looks like Mike Fahey is going to be your race leader again. We're going to try and jump to a commercial, but they've got short cautions on here, so we're going to let it slide. Certainly no complaints from us.
Absolutely not.
Official iRacing pace car peels off the track.
Green.
Back underway from Atlanta Motor Speedway, Mike Fahey with a good restart. He's maybe too good. Truck length and a half, maybe two back to the 19 of Cedric Ingram. Then Luke Strayer, the 41. He is not one that you want to see in the rearview mirror anytime near the end of the race because he's going to be a challenger no matter where we're at. Strayer up top. He's got drafting help from the 21 of Brandon Elfin. We haven't seen these guys towards the front all night long. Chris Dean as well, that 48 black and red on the bottom. Chris Scala up top, that greenish number 22 on the top side. All these guys quick, fast, just about everywhere we go. Now they're up here in the top 5, top 6, battling for position here with 30 and a half laps to go. Just like that, Fahey's got company. It's Luke Strayer to the outside. Luke Knupp in the 7th position. Still in the outside lane, that Red Sim Design number 29 truck. Scala drops way to the bottom. He's going to get out of this mess as well. Still too early for the 22. Too rich for his blood. He's going to save that truck to the end. Hope that these guys run into issues and he doesn't get caught up in it. Fahey pulling alongside the outside of Trey Anderson. The lap truck to 85 on the bottom. It's going to stack up to 19. It's tough. This place was narrowed in this reconfiguration. It certainly makes it a challenge to get by slower trucks, especially when you factor in the delta with the draft. Here comes Luke Knupp again. A big push to Brandon Elfin. Look at the run down into turn 3 that the 21 gets off the nose of the 29. That was almost a push.
A great run off exit, too. Look at him go.
At the stripe, Elfin's going to lead lap 92.
Looks like Strayer's had enough of that excitement. He pulls down, says there's still plenty of time.
Yeah, no sense in widening up at this point. If these guys are being that aggressive, I don't think he wants any part of it.
That is the hardest thing to do, but we'll see if it pays off.
Well, that really is the hardest thing to do, especially if any kind of racing driver is competitive at all. Gagnon gets crossed up the nose of the 13 truck. Everybody gathers it back up. Whew, that was close. Guys don't want to slow down, especially when they feel like, man, I'm quick today. I can get by these guys. I can do this. I can do that. Sometimes it gets you in trouble as Trey Anderson tries to go topside here. I don't know if he's just trying to stay up here with the leaders or what the case may be, but he's a lap down truck. Now we're 3 wide. Yeah, in fact, Anderson's 21st, 3 laps down. Fahey's still out in front. Josh Gagnon now in that number 79 truck. The Schaefer's Racing Oil Toyota in that second position. We've got the 13 of Clark, I believe it is. He is 17th, but he is right there in the mix as well. Now Clark, where he is at, I know he wants to stay in the position that he's at just because he's the first truck 1 lap down. If he were to get a caution, he would be the lucky dog and would be able to go back around and get back on the lead lap. So I see why he's up there trying to do what he's doing.
Boy, at the same time, there's only 24 to go. It's, I don't know, scary up there.
Meanwhile, the 29, Luke Nupp, has taken back that top spot from Mike Fahey. Fahey runs second, but not for long, maybe. Swings it to the outside, had a big run, but nobody to dance with. He goes topside, opens the door for Josh Gagnon. Gagnon's going to take the second spot away. Fahey's going to look for a dancing partner here at the stripe. 23 laps to go. He doesn't have anybody to work with, but he's holding his own right now on the outside. Luke Nupp still maintaining that lead position. Mike Fahey right outside trying to get it back again. Fahey's been such a good pusher all evening long. He needs some help. He's got 2 lap trucks behind him though. Don't know what the incentive would be for those 2. I don't know, Zach. I'm starting to think that circumstances are going to dictate that outside lane is not where you want to be right now.
No, I mean, the second and third truck having that much damage, I mean, it's amazing that Mike's staying as far up as he is. But if I were him, I'd get to the bottom as quick as possible, get away from him.
I think the situation, though, Mike is trying to side draft the 29. That's really what's keeping him alive here, and a little bit of help out behind him. But again, those 2 trucks, the 13 and the 85, I believe it is, both not on the lead lap. They're laps down. So they're not going to be pushing for position as hard as you would expect a guy that's running 4th or 5th or 6th to do that, especially with the damage that they have. I think Fahey's in a bad spot here. I will say this much, though, watching Luke Nupp here defend that top spot, he was going up and down, trying to block the runs. It's working now, but the later we go in this race, the less guys are going to lift for that. See him again, goes topside to go around Telder. Telder's going to slow these guys up again.
Big time.
It's tough. There's nowhere to go. Now, I know we've got a yellow line rule. Oh, we got a wreck behind in the triangle, in the dogleg. Big time trouble.
What can we do to try to help it if we do get another restart?
Well, that's going to give everybody a reset, and I think this is going to come down to who saved a set of tires now. And I know it may or may not be that big of a deal, but it certainly allows you to be more aggressive.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this on a quote, super speedway, but I'm going to want them. If I've got a set, I'm coming down to get them.
Well, let's take a look here. Big time wreck here in the dogleg. trying to get an eyeball on it. This is all precipitated. Telder on the bottom here, closing in, and it really just jacked up the leaders here.
Yeah, you really just got to get below that red line if you're off that much pace. You know, you don't want to be dictating the finish of this race when you're that many laps down.
But that's really what happened. I mean, Gagnon got held up by the lap truck, and that's what precipitated this whole incident. Now, I know they've got a yellow line rule, and we were just talking about that, but I think in the instance where you're a lap truck and you're letting the leaders go, I'd say use that space. You know, hindsight's certainly 20/20, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, looks like Jason Dalton is going to hit pit lane. A few others as well. You got Dalton, Sam Fontaine, Justin Bondurant, Tim Averill III, Chris Scala, Steve Miles. Again, Miles a winner this season. I think that was an Auto Club. Chris Goins in the stream chat. Second time he's held up the bottom line of leaders. It's an accurate observation, Chris. Not trying to call guys out, but everybody saw it.
Boy, this is interesting. How many trucks did we have stay out here?
We had a bunch. Ninth is going to be Sam Fontaine, which he took tires, 14.77 seconds. This could get really interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. With the way tires are kind of getting smoked at this place, I don't know. I would definitely be down there getting some.
But Zach, let's pick your brain a little bit, kind of going back to that last incident and put us under this fourth caution of the afternoon. We've seen this happen a couple of times tonight, and unfortunately for Matt Telder, he was involved in both of them, but it was a matter of he's got some damage. He's not having the pace. He's got a pack full of drafting trucks approaching him where he's there all by his lonesome. He's going to be significantly off the pace. Now, we talked about, okay, yeah, you can go below the yellow line with the left sides only a little bit. But I think in the case, and again, it's hindsight, they didn't address it necessarily in the driver's meeting. I don't know because I wasn't in it, but my guess would be they said, don't go below the line. In this case, it's a red line, but we call it the double yellow line rule. I think if you're a lap truck and you're trying to let the leaders go by, which I don't think Telder did it on purpose, but he's trying to stay above the line because that's what the rules told him to do. I think you kind of got to let that guy go to the bottom and let the pack get on by just for safety reasons, because that double yellow line rule, it's there for safety. So we don't have these types of incidents, but here you go. The rule effectively has caused an incident.
Well, it was mentioned in the driver's meeting as we were rolling off the grid there. You were allowed to go below that line if you were pulling aside, letting traffic go by. As long as you weren't gaining position, that was the only thing you couldn't do by going under that line.
Well, it's fair enough to say as well. I mean, when they talk about it, you know, in everyday NASCAR, it's, you know, you can go below the yellow line, just don't advance your position.
Right.
So I guess that does make sense. Well, I was trying to give him a bailout.
Sorry, man.
Sorry, Telder, I tried, man. I tried to get you out of that one, but
I mean, it is. We could talk about it all day afterwards, but yeah, in the moment, it is a different game for sure.
Blame Zach Millett for pointing it out.
Yep. I've got slight memory loss here. I was trying to remember who Chris Goins was. You know, that incident was pretty big. Hi, Chris.
All right, so we're coming to 14 to go. Lights are off on the iRacing pace car. We're going to go to the green flag, hopefully go all the way to the finish with this final round of stops complete. We'll see if these guys that did stop with tires, see if it pays off, see if it doesn't.
Green flag.
Luke Knupp in the throttle. Looks like Fahey might have went early, but wheel spin out of the 29, spun the tires. Don't know how they're going to rule that one because Fahey did get to the stripe first. Both those drivers, though, timed it well. They got off and running in a hurry. I think if Fahey lets Knupp go here, if he did jump it, I think he'll be okay. Tucks in behind the 29, down the back straightaway. Luke Knapp still with the lead. Then it's Mike Fahey, Brandon Elf in the number 21. Looking a little worse for wear, but hanging tough in the third spot. He's got the 26 of Brian Sutphin trying to take that spot away. He does for now. Sutphin on the inside. behind them. It's the 19 truck of Cedric Ingram, Luke Daniels, Chris Scala, Tim Averill, and Chris Dean, the Dean Machine. Sam Fontaine runs 10th, now 9th. Remember, Fontaine did take 4 tires. We'll see if it pays off. He's got work to do. On board with Luke Knupp, looking back at the rest of this field. Mike Fahey all over the tailgate of the number 29.
I think that 00 is in the driver's seat right now, seeing the top car. The first car in that top lane is damaged, but if you could kind of wait this out and then maybe 1 or 2 to go, shoot out to that outside and make his move. Boy, a lot can happen from now to then.
That's just it. I think a lot's going to happen from now to then.
Yeah. Outside line all but faded away now.
Well, that's what needs to happen, though. I mean, with the damage that the 21 truck has, might need a new leader in that top lane to kind of get things reorganized and put on a challenge, because if not, I don't know that Fahey's got an option here. He's just going to have to ride in behind that 29 truck. And if he does pull out to pass, he's going to have to cross his fingers and hope that somebody goes with him. Fahey's out here without teammates. He's kind of a one-man army here. He's got an LSR teammate spotting for him, but nobody in the race that can really push him by the 29 if he does pull out to make a move.
Close contact right behind these guys.
Battle with Fontaine up to the 7th spot. They were 3 wide for a moment. Little bit of contact between Scala and maybe Steve Miles. There you see Alex Cummings down on the bottom. Oh, Miles goes way to the bottom. And so does Trey Anderson. Again, Anderson not on the lead lap. I don't know how they're going to rule that. We did see some drivers on the lead lap going all 4 below the double red line. Steve Miles being one of them, and he's all the way up into the 4th spot. Be curious how the admins are going to rule that later on.
Boy, it just keeps getting more and more interesting.
Oh yeah, things are happening. Coming to 7 laps to go, so his lap, I think 112. Last time by, we saw a couple drivers drop below that double red in the dog leg and gain position.
Tell you what, too, Steve, if I was the 7 truck and I was going to get a penalty, I'd want to know right now. Get down pit lane, serve it as quick as possible, get out just in case there's a caution, and get back in this thing.
Yeah, I don't know what the penalty is mid-race for doing it, or if there technically even is. I know it's frowned upon, but
maybe it's a gimme.
Ryan Sutphin in the 26 on the charge as well. Steve Miles, Tim Averill, Sam Fontaine with the freshest tires in the field right now here with 5.5 laps to go. We'll see if they can do anything with it. Again, Miles is a bit of an unknown now with that position gain below the red line. But that doesn't mean that he can't help somebody draft to the front. So we'll see how that pans out. Meanwhile, speaking of drafting to the front, the 26 is Sutphin. He's got some help on the outside. He's got a nose to the right side of Knupp, looking for the lead here with less than 5 laps to go. Great battle up front. All 4 of these trucks under a blanket for the lead. Off turn number 4, coming to 4 laps to go. Knupp been real strong all evening long. Sutphin trying to put on a challenge here late. Haven't seen him up near the front, but man, he started 27th. Sutphin now running in the 2nd spot, battling with Mike Fahey. Also trying to get a run off the nose of the 3 truck. That's Tim Averill, the 3rd. Topside gets a little disorganized, loses some ground. You see Fontaine tucking back down below under the 21. Now there's slow truck. Telder at the front of the field. He's going to go to the bottom, or is he? Looks like the guys get through okay there. Telder slides up a little bit. No issues. Another slow truck. That's Justin Bondurant. Nupp still with the point. Mike Fahey in behind. You see how fast those lap cars go by on the bottom.
Yeah, being 3 of them. I mean, that was perfect. Good on them for being under that line, letting the pack go by. It's getting to be decision time.
Oh, a little loose for Mike Fahey out of the corner.
This is where we're going to see that top line and everything it's got.
Out of turn number 4, coming to the white flag. It's Steve Miles and Luke Nupp for the lead at Atlanta. Miles is going to get the lead across the stripe, but he's not clear of Nupp. The 21, Brandon Alphin, going to try and draft the 7 to the lead. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, it's the 2 that have been out front most of the night. Nupp and Fahey. Fahey on the bottom, that 00 machine, been a good pusher all night long, but the top side has the numbers. Going to see if the 26 can work his way up. Ryan Sutphin was battling for the lead. Here we are, coming to the stripe. Checkered flag in the air. Miles is going to cross the line first. We're going to have to see if the penalty comes into play here. I'm not sure if he's going to let this win stand. Again, passing below the red line. That was lap 112. I don't know if it was addressed already. We do not have admin chat turned on in our ears, so we're going to have to follow up on that.
Boy, great finish by these guys, though. Keeping it clean right to the line. That is fantastic.
Was a great finish, and man, they got that final lap done in a hurry. I thought I had more time to talk. I guess not.
Me too. I was too busy gawking at the finish. That was great.
Well, we're going to jump out and get a break out of the way, hopefully get some confirmation as to whether or not this win will stand. If it does not, it would likely put Luke Nupp as your winner, but we're going to jump out. We'll try to get that addressed here before we come back. Stay with us.
I would definitely recommend the Garza Law Firm to all my family and friends because I know how he's treated me. I have been playing basketball ever since I can remember. I just finished my 6-year career playing for the University of Tennessee. I feel like we're both striving to be better every day. He's always responded quickly and has always come through with whatever he said that he's going to do. The Garza Law Firm is definitely somebody you want on your team.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
The great thing about youth sports, they give young people an opportunity to participate in something that is going to broaden them as people.
I think it's very amazing that Garza Law Firm has made a commitment to help the youth kids with playing different sports.
Guys like Marcos Garza that put their time into being able to help these kids live out a dream. It's made me who I am today.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I would definitely.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Atlanta Super Speedway, the conclusion of the Hotlanta 180 presented by Schaefer's Racing Oil. Little controversy at the end. Steve Miles, the number 7, is your race winner. It's confirmed. We have verified that with race control. He did go below the double red line and advanced his position, but it will not strip him of the win. So he's still going to be the race winner. And we're going to pull the driver of the number 7 up into the broadcast booth. Steve Miles, it's Steve Singer and Zach Millett in the HBR TV booth. You got a good copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, Steve, congratulations. I think this is race win number 2 on the season, so nicely done there. Walk us through your race. You started in 25th, and slowly but surely made your way to the front and passed a very strong Luke Nupp for the race win here. Walk us through it.
I mean, me and my teammates and other guys had a strategy, just ride in the back. And we knew it was going to be wrecks. We knew it was going to be people that's impatient. So we just wanted to get through all that without no damage and just have a chance at the end with a clean car, fresh tires. I ran half the race on one set of tires, just riding in the back. And we got to the inside, and I seen Stuffing go to the outside, and I didn't want to go there. I wanted to stay on the bottom. I was committed to just get a top 5 after the previous weeks have been going for me. And luckily, we was able to get a run. As soon as we got past up, and I jumped to the outside because I knew my teammate Alvin and my good friend Tim was behind me, and I knew right then, like, I haven't raced up here all day, but I knew I wasn't going to get out of it because I was saving tires for like 10 laps. But once we got to the outside, I knew I was going to be able to get them, side draft them. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty dominant with super speedways, but yeah, man, we had a good run there. Great run for the team.
Pretty dominant. I think it was the only lap you led tonight, but it's the one that freaking mattered, man. Nicely done. Congratulations on all of that. I got to go back to lap 112. Getting down to crunch time, you had some slow lap trucks in the dog leg, everybody taking evasive action. You end up going below the red line. You passed a couple of cars. I know that is a no-no as far as the rules go, but we did confirm with race control that the win will still stand, but I'm assuming that they may address that post-race. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think all 4 of my tires went below it. Them lap cars, we was having trouble with them all race. Well, I was in the back watching them be trouble. And by the time I got up to my teammate Skylar, he made a move to the inside, and I didn't know where I was gonna go. I just held it, and the try over I went below it, but I felt I only got 2 of my left sides, but. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. They could do it. I'm a racer. I'm just here to race and try to get these finishes. So I'll take whatever they're going to give to me.
Well, win number 2 either way. Congratulations. It was impressive to watch, Steve. Congratulations. We're going to let you go. Who do you want to shout out to?
T.I. Racing, my teammates Alvin, Skylar, Strayer. He had his win at Homestead. We're a strong team. We're trying to show it. And Skylar and thank April for hopping on there, because without him, we wouldn't be able to pass him. So that's all I want to thank God and thank you and my girlfriend. That'll be it.
All right, Steven. Again, congratulations. Good luck next week at Circuit of the Americas.
Thank you.
Steve Miles, your race winner. Next, we're going to go to Luke Knupp. So dominant here tonight. Unfortunately, comes up one short. Luke, the number 29, looked strong out here tonight. Couldn't bring it home to the checkered flag. Not in P1 at least. A second place runner-up here at Atlanta. Talk about your race.
Oh man, I won last week, pretty dominating fashion, and just wanted to kind of do the same here. I missed 2 races early in the season, so had to get some points back. So kind of did the mentality of I'm either gonna wreck or I'm gonna do good. So I kind of left it all on the track, and that's what I can be proud of, is I left it all on the track. And definitely looking at the results, seeing leading 49 laps, it definitely hurts to see you don't come away with the win, but man, it hurts to get second.
I'll tell you, man, it was impressive to watch. It was a great outing for you, and it seemed like guys like yourself and Mike Fahey were just able to keep their truck right up front most of the night. Again, you led, like you said, 49 laps, and it just comes down, and I think, unfortunately, in your case, Steve Miles, I think only led that final lap, maybe the final 2 at most, but either way, strong performance. Again, a great win last week. We didn't get to talk to you because we did the broadcast after the fact, but a good run again here this evening. Next week, we go on the road course, Circuit of the Americas. I know there's some different disciplines that we've been working with here. Dirt last week, super speedway style racing here tonight, and then, well, left and rights next week. How do you run on the road course?
Pretty good. I think never finished outside the top 7, and I think I've done 5 races in road courses. I used to do a bunch of dirt road racing, and that's what I do in real life racing. So I'm always pretty good on the road courses. Just got to save tires, and should be running up at the front towards the end.
Well, Luke, we certainly wish you luck next week. And again, either way, man, good job tonight. Strong run. Congratulations. We're going to let you go here. Is there anyone you want to shout out to?
For sure. I want to thank my team, Peak Performance Motorsports, Red Sim Design for the awesome scheme, Origin Industries Impact Race Gear, and iRacing Funny. They're great sponsors. Can't thank them enough. And then all the league officials for doing what they do, and you for broadcasting this. Thank you, guys.
All right, Luke. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
It was Luke Knupp, your second place finisher. Sounds like a guy who's done a few interviews in his day. Next, we're going to go to Brandon Alphin, our third place finisher. Get a word with the driver, the number 21. Beaten and battered and still brings it home on the podium. A top 3 finish for the number 21, Brandon Alphin. It's Steven Zach in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Turn you up here just a little bit. Congratulations on that third place finish. You had a good run tonight. You started 26, worked your way all the way up into that top 3. Walk us through your night strategy. Just keep the truck clean. What was the plan?
Yeah, getting into the race, super speedways are always a coin flip, and you're just trying to not get caught in the big one, which, we had a couple tonight, but there wasn't, I honestly thought there might be a little bit more as far as pile-ups go and that kind of thing, and so I just wanted to kind of hang back, I guess, kind of do what maybe Dale Jarrett and a couple other guys would do back in the day, as far as just kind of hang back on super speedways and just kind of be there at the end. And so fortunate enough, it's so hard because there's so many, it's super speedways. It's just tough as far as figuring out when the time to go and when the time is to, as far as kind of stay back. And so just kind of, made a decision. I think it was after that last caution came out in force, said, all right, so I'm just going to try to stay up here and keep my nose clean and get a good finish.
So speaking of Dale Jarrett and drivers or teams he's been with in the past, looking at your truck, it kind of has a bit of a Texaco Haviland throwback to it. Am I right on that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Speaking, I was a big, I bring up Dale Jarrett. I was a big Ricky Rudd fan growing up and stuff. So that was where the paint scheme kind of got inspired. It was maybe, and I brought it back maybe 2 seasons ago whenever I ran it. And so I just kind of, I've always liked the paint scheme. I know some people affiliated with Davey Allison, that kind of thing, and stuff. And Ernie, I think it was Ernie Irvin as well too. And I kind of, that was my time. That was my childhood growing up, was watching Ricky Rudd. So that's where the paint comes from.
Yeah, Davey, Ricky, Ernie, Dale Jarrett, they all ran that scheme at one point or another. It's certainly an iconic paint scheme. It's cool that you kind of change it up a little bit to suit your sponsorship. Well, let's talk about it. Who is that on the truck?
Yeah, Strada Italiano, and they had sponsored us. They've been a supporter of TIX Racing. I think it was maybe for the last 2 or 3 seasons as far as that goes and stuff. So definitely, give a shout out to them. They're down. It's a nice little Italian restaurant down in North Carolina. So if you're ever in that area, go ahead and get you some good and want some good Italian, you could swing on into Strada Italiano.
Whereabouts in North Carolina?
I want to say, gosh, I don't want to say it and then get it wrong. I can't. It's Korean. I don't want to say it then be totally opposite. I want to say.
All right, we'll Google it.
It's around. God, I know it's close to Cherokee. I don't think it's not in Cherokee, but it's around that area because it's where Chris Lewis is, and so that's what it's down around there. I think around maybe the Charlotte area or so.
All right, well, you got some homework to do. Next week we're going to be at the Circuit of the Americas. Maybe you can go up in the top 3. How do you run on road courses?
I'm okay as far as that go. I mean, I'll be shooting for a top 5 next week, and so I'm pretty. I feel like I usually have decent pace at a road course, but if you looked at my I rating, you'd probably say otherwise. So I think I might have one of the lowest I ratings in road ever. So I think I'm in double digits. So
fair enough. Chris Goins in the stream chat's confirming Asheville, North Carolina for
Asheville. That's what I wanted to. I wanted to say that. And then I just didn't want to say. I knew it was around Cherokee because I actually went down there for a buddy's bachelor party, and so we thought about stopping in and stuff. But I didn't want to just say the wrong city. So Asheville.
Fair enough, Brandon. We're gonna let you go, man. Congratulations. Is there anyone else you want to shout out to?
Yeah, just give a shout out to TIX Racing and Chris Lewis as well. For running the team and everything they've done, and then as well as our teammates. And so we had a good run tonight with getting Steven up there for the win and everything. So when we all had a pretty good team point tonight. And so then I'd like to give a shout out to you as well for doing it. So it's nice. The first time talking to you this year, so it's nice to finally meet you.
First and hopefully not the last, Brandon. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week at COTA.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
It's Brandon Alphin, your 3rd place finisher here at Atlanta. That's going to wrap up our top 3 interviews, but let's go down and take a look at our official race results. Again, they are official. We did confirm with race control that the win will stand for Steve Miles. Further penalties may be coming down the line, but that'll be addressed post-race. So again, it was Steve Miles, Luke Knupp, Brandon Alphin, and then tough break for Mike Fahey. Thought he had a shot at the win here tonight. Didn't even make that top 3, missed it by just that much. It's just the way these types of races go, but a solid run nevertheless. Mike Fahey bringing it home, top 5 in that 4th spot. Tim Averill, the 3rd, P5. Brian Sutphin was 6th. Sam Fontaine, the 77, was 7th. Chris Scala brought it home in the 8th position. Jason Clark was 9th. Luke Strayer brought it home in the 10th position. 11th went to Luke Daniels. Cedric Ingram was 12th. Chris Dean, the Dean Machine, was 13th. Diego Sainz, 14th. Justin Bondurant, 15th after some damage early on. Ben Pierce was 16th. Jason Dalton, 17th. Trey Anderson, 18th. Jacob Drift was the 19th finisher. 20th position went to Sean Petchin, the number 69. Josh Gagnon was 21st after an issue getting caught up with the lap car and the dog leg. He had a much stronger truck and a stronger run going than what his finish represents. Alex Cummings was 22nd. Tyler Brewer in the 40 was 23rd. Joey Laddiser was 24th. Cameron Ingram, P25. Matt Telder in the 1 was 26th. Luke Simonson, 27th. 28th went to Dylan Glass. And, well, none other than Zach Millett in the broadcast booth at HBR TV. Last but not least in P29 after an early wreck. 105 laps down. That's got to hurt.
Dead last, Steve. Dead last.
Well, nonetheless, it was a solid race here from Atlanta Super Speedway. I know they're not really calling it that, but that's what it's turned into. This new configuration, narrowing up the racetrack, increasing the banking, of course, fresh surface. I'm more interested to see how this place races in the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years when iRacing gets a chance to rescan it after it's wore out and it doesn't really have those same super speedway characteristics. It might have a little bit more of the characteristics of the old Atlanta that you love so much. You got to save tires and baby the thing and take care of it, especially over the course of the long run. But I don't know. It remains to be seen, and it's a ways down the road.
Yeah, can you imagine that, Steve? I mean, running the old Atlanta in these things, but with more speed. Wow,
Yeah, it's going to shred tires.
it's going to be great.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. All you in the stream chat, it was busy tonight. Certainly appreciate the participation every week that you guys are in here doing that. It does make the broadcast a bit better. It's an absolute help, so please stick to it. Keep doing that. We do appreciate it. Again, tune in next week. This one's going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited for it. I'm a NASCAR guy, but I'm a road course guy at heart. So is Zach Millett. Circuit of the Americas. We'll see how these guys can navigate the twists and turns out at COTA next week. I know Zach Millett. I'm not just going to toot your own horn. You're going to be the favorite to win that thing unless there's a surprise road course ringer in the bunch that we don't know about. But if there is, and I kind of hope there is, it'll be fun to watch you guys battle it out.
I can't wait, man. I really like turning right instead of just left all race long.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thank you guys all for watching. Again, if you haven't already done so, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. YouTube.com/@HBRTV1. And Zach, I'm going to let you go ahead and throw your Twitch channel out as well since you helped us out here in the broadcast tonight. Have at it.
Hey, thanks, man. I'm kind of glad I didn't stream tonight. It would have been about a 10-minute stream, but yeah, shoot me a follow on Twitch at that S4 guy.
Zach does his in-car streams just about every time he sits down to the rig, and it can be mildly entertaining. Sometimes he gets a little frustrated. You get to watch him get mad. It's always a blast. So,
Yeah, I haven't punched any screens or through anything yet, but if it brings in viewers, let's do it.
I'll put it on the Facebook page if you do that.
No, game on. I'll get some stuff here.
Either way, guys, thanks for watching once again. Have a good night. That's going to do it for us. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. Thanks, Zach Millett, for jumping up in the booth after the fact. We'll see you guys next week.